Let's talk about the final preseason game between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Miami Dolphins. We don't usually play the Miami Dolphins in the preseason. I think that we played them in 2017, the year we won the Super Bowl. We don't really have a huge rivalry with the Miami Dolphins. I don't really care about the Miami Dolphins that much outside of playing in a preseason game. You guys know my personal opinion about the preseason. It doesn't count. It doesn't. The win and loss part, it doesn't matter. What these coaches are doing is they are evaluating the backups on the team. They shouldn't really be evaluating the starters unless the starters are really not known to the team. Like it's a new guy or someone with a lack of experience. Otherwise, you probably shouldn't be seeing your starters out there for very long. It perplexes me. I mean, before last year, there were 4 preseason games every year. 4 preseason games. I think starting in sometime in the early 90s. And usually the first game, your starters would play like a drive or two. And then in the second game, your starters would play for a quarter. And then in the third game would be the dress rehearsal game where your starters would play like almost a half. And then the fourth preseason game would always be the backups would play the whole game. The backups and the third stringers, because you're essentially taking a 90-man roster in order to try to make it a 53-man roster with like 8 practice squad parts. This year, some teams changed it up. Now, the third preseason game is the dress rehearsal game, and the Eagles didn't treat it as the dress rehearsal game. Of course, Jalen Hurts and the starters and on the offense and defense played like one drive in the first preseason game. Second preseason game, there were no starters in the game. Third preseason game, there are no starters in the game. But the Miami Dolphins, they decided that they were going to play to win the preseason game, and they started everybody that was available as a starter. And the Eagles started nobody. Okay, for the most part, their third stringers played just about the whole game. Gardner Minshew, who's the Eagles' backup, only lasted about one quarter. And other than that, it was Reed Sinnett and it was Carson Strong. And let's just say the Eagles just got walloped. It was not a good contest. It was not a good affair. It was not a good job by the Philadelphia Eagles. Right off the bat, the Miami Dolphins just absolutely torched the Eagles. Tua hit Tyreek Hill over the middle. It was not a particularly great pass, but Hill is such a great receiver. He still caught the ball, and it ended up going for a touchdown. And then one really good play for the Eagles is Tua was sacked on third down. They kicked a field goal, and then they scored a touchdown. They essentially handled the Eagles. Okay, and again, like I said, I don't really care about the wins and the losses. I'm not trying to overreact again because I had all of last night to overreact. I'm not going to overreact. But I do have quite a few worries going into the season, okay? Of course, I don't know what the coaching staff is trying to do. I don't know if what they're trying to show. They always say, they're not trying to show anything in the preseason. Certain coaches don't try to win in the preseason. Other coaches do try to win in the preseason. And if the defense is going to be like that, then it's not going to be a very good season for the Eagles. If the Eagles are going to be porous in the run defense, then we're going to have a lot of problems. If they're going to have trouble tackling, then the team's going to have a lot of problems. If you're going to have guys missing plays, you're going to have a lot of problems. I did not watch the game, just to show how much I didn't take the game as seriously as many other fans might have. I usually watched the games illegally. I chance my computer getting a virus to watch the Philadelphia Eagles. I know, it's crazy. I watched the Gamecast, which is something that I haven't done in years. And that once I heard the starters weren't playing, that's what I thought. And I kind of knew that it would be a sloppy contest because usually when it's the Eagles' third stringers playing in the game, they usually don't do anything. And the Miami Dolphins took advantage of the Eagles. So if they were trying to win a preseason game, congratulations, you won a preseason game. I don't really have much to say about the game besides disappointment. I'm not disappointed about winning or losing the game. Again, that doesn't matter to me. But when you lose 48-10 in a preseason game, it just goes to show that you didn't have heart in the game. And I remember last year the Eagles lost to the Patriots 35-0 in the second preseason game. And what was it? Jalen Hurts had bubble guts before the game, so they pulled him and the rest of the starters. So you just had like bubble players and backups playing in the game. And I remember saying in the game that I was really upset about how the players played. They just didn't play with any heart. And it seemed to be from a veteran standpoint that they weren't trying as hard as they definitely should have. And I just remember not being very happy about it. I remember just being like, why is our rookie guard dressing up like he's about to chill out on his back porch in Alabama? And instead of going to a football game and taking things seriously, it just seemed like a leadership issue. And I'm hoping that it wasn't like that here because, I mean, I just remember in that game, the starters were just like posing for cameras and taking interviews and not being vested in the game. That's a leadership problem. And I'm hoping that that doesn't continue during the season. The other thing is, again, if Sanders is not healthy, if Scott and Gainwell are the two guys who are going to be taking the short yardage carries, then this team isn't going to be good because those guys can't get 1 yard. It's not going to happen. Dude who's 5'6" isn't going to get 1 yard unless he jumps over everybody. And Gainwell, he's just not going to do it either. So I'm hoping that the offensive line is going to be good enough in order to mask the inconsistencies and mask the not-so-goodness of our running backs so that we can actually get 1 yard or half a yard if we need to on 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. Okay? Because if you can't convert those plays, you're not going anywhere in this league. And I'm hoping that the team isn't taking the Detroit Lions for granted because we're going to their house and they're licking their chops for us after we beat them 44-6 last year. So if you think that that's going to be a walk in the park, I've got something else coming for you because it's not going to be. Okay? So those are my two worries going into all of this. And again, we did play backups. They played their starters. They made that choice. They destroyed us in their local station. That's fine. Okay? They really wanted to win a preseason game. That's good. I personally am used to the team playing backups in the last preseason game, but other teams they have other choices there. For me, I would rather lose a preseason game and not have starters play and not risk those starters playing poorly so that the media is just talking about that until the first game of the season, much like the 49ers did with Trey Lance, where Trey Lance played like the first quarter of the first half and didn't do anything. Now they're going to be talking about Trey Lance and how he didn't perform. So I feel like I'm happier not playing starters and getting destroyed by starters going into the season because you haven't seen the starters play. But I believe that if the two teams played, Miami would have probably won. I think Miami is a better team. But again, it's just preseason. I always say that if you do well in preseason, it doesn't mean you're going to do well during the regular season. If you do badly in preseason, it doesn't mean you're going to do badly during the season. There's no correlation at all. I would like to do a study about that. I would like to study the preseason and, what teams do in the preseason and how they're able to perform during the regular season. So this is all about the game. Talking about the game is over because there's nothing I can get from the game. The Eagles didn't play well. They played against the Dolphins, as many Dolphins starters as were available, and the Eagles did not do well, obviously. Got destroyed.